In the last video, you seen us pull out this Ameri-Barra out of a 2008 Chevy Trailblazer. Well, today we're going to mate the 4L80 to this 4.2 liter. You can see it's gotten a little skinnier since last time you've seen it. We pulled the intake manifold off and exhaust manifold off, and we put on these engine plates for the mounts. We're going to try to utilize the factory engine mounts with the isolators because they're really nice, but worst case scenario, we're going to make our own. All right, so we're going to take this thing off the engine stand and start assembling the transmission adapter. Oh, we got a leaker. Don't drink the forbidden Kool-Aid. We got different bolts. Bunch of bullshit. Oh yeah, perfect. So here we have the MTech Motorsports 4L80 adapter for the 4.2 liter. It's super easy company to work with. They're based out of Canada. Mark's really good guy. What you will need with this spacer is extended dowel pins, which will reach through this adapter and into the transmission and engine. Here's the part number you'll need, 38152. Got them from Summit. Also, you will need these countersink bolts. We sourced ours from Fastenal, but they're an M10 by 1.5, 30 millimeter long. That way we'll reach through this adapter and into the engine. All right, we're going to remove these factory dowel pins and put our fancy new ones in. All right, so on these, they are actually too small of a hole on the center. We ended up stepping the drill size up to a 13/32. They're actually a 25/64, but we went a smidge bigger. 13/32 is perfect. So let's tap these in. Now remember, it's all in the hips.
In the hips, yeah, it's all in the hips.
One thing that we like to do is clean the block mating surface because you get this corrosion right there, and that'll cause transmission issues because it'll ground through the block face here. We're using a 3M Rolock bristle disc. They seem to work the best for removing corrosion. All right, now we're going to mount this thing. I like to use blue Loctite. Not that it needs it, but extra security. It'll let you know when you have too much of an impact. All right, so here we got a sweet 4L80. It's been sitting in the woods for about 8 years. The story behind this one is I pulled it out of a Chevy 2500. It was burnt to the ground, like scorched, nothing left. We pulled the engine out thinking it wasn't gonna be good. We put it in a Trans Am, thing ran like a top. So I put this transmission underneath a bed cover out in the woods 8 years ago in hopes to use it one day. Well, today is that day. You can't judge a book by its cover. She's got plenty of seasoning on her. I have no fear that this thing will work perfectly. All right, so we're not going to change anything on this other than a stall converter, and I put a new output shaft speed sensor in it because the four-wheel drive ones don't have this output shaft speed sensor. It's actually in the transfer case. So since I'm using a Jeep transfer case, which we're going to do another video on, I went ahead and put the output shaft speed sensor in here out of a two-wheel drive, but we're not going to clean this thing up at all. Like, it's going to go in just like this, just to prove to you guys 4L80s can look like shit, but it doesn't mean they are shit. That's some of that sacred dirt. Brand new looking. Can't get too excited. All right, so we're gonna bolt this transmission to this engine. I'm not gonna put a torque converter or the flex plate or the spacer in there because all we're doing is gonna set this engine and transmission in there to get motor mounts and transmission mounts made. Why am I going in there? Did yours go in?
Not real well. Are the dowel pin holes cleaned out?
No.
Been sitting in the woods for 8 years and you didn't even clean the holes out.
That's some of that sacred dirt. What we have here is the Novak 4L80 to Jeep 231 transfer case adapter. So we're gonna bolt this onto the transmission. That way I can go ahead and bolt my mount, which also come from Novak, and we can get the transmission mount in the correct location along with the engine mounts. So we're gonna swap this out. We're gonna do the first initial test fit here. We're gonna get this bumper off and slide it in. May have to invite P. Diddy over.
This thing got tip over?
It might. So as soon as you see me run, you better run.
I just stand.
There you go. That helped out a lot. I have to put some weights on the back here. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm grabbing your pipe.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Shove it right in there. Oh.
Oh, now we're into the hood.
Connor, man, hold the hood. There we go. Just going right in there. Look at that. Like it's made to be. Oh, shit. Dang. It's a lot of engine.
It looks good in its new home. What do you think?
Thinking it's going to be a lot of work. So we're going to fill you in on what we've accomplished today. Let's see what's underneath the hood of this sweet sport track. It doesn't get any sexier. My pants are getting tighter just looking at it. The engine is finally in this hoss. Austin, do you care to explain how we got this in there?
Well, it was a bit of a process. Basically, first thing, we had to do a little firewall massaging to make clearance to get it in there, because the back of the head right here was hitting the firewall real bad. But some slicing and dicing, we got her fit. After getting it in there, we had to fabricate these motor mounts using the original engine brackets and rubber mount from the Trailblazer. Had to custom build those and cut the original mounts off the frame. I want to show you guys this transmission cross member. It was kind of a quick deal, and we are thinking we're going to have to redo it in the future because we will possibly run into clearance issues with the frame brackets for the 3-link up front. But we utilized some existing frame or holes in the frame. We drilled them out so we could through bolt this angle, and then it's just a piece of 1.25" pipe running across. Pretty quick and easy.
And then on the transmission mount here, this is part of the Novak adapter kits mount. You can buy it separately. The bracket here comes with it, which I want to call them out on that because it sucks, because you can't get the bolts for the transmission pan if you're going to drop it. So we're going to cut this thing off, this conglomeration there, and make it better. Look at all this room for activities. I mean, you can just do whatever you want in here. Some guy on the forum told me that this could not be done, but here we are, done. All right, so what I'm gonna show you guys is all the room for activities up in here, like crazy. I mean, we got a few spots. We got a dimple for the transfer case, but I mean, there is room for days up there. So next week, we're going to yank this motor, transmission, and transfer case back out, finish welding the engine mounts, and then separate the motor and transmission and actually do the flex plate install, torque converter install, and then mount the transmission back so you guys get the full how-to video on that. And then we're going to take the transfer case back off and then actually bolt the adapter on correctly for the transmission to transfer case. Austin will be here to finish up these motor mounts.